Lake Victoria, Africa's largest freshwater body shared by Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania, is the source of millions of fresh fish consumed within and beyond the continent.
Uganda has an outstanding fishery potential. More than 15% of the surface area of this country is covered by high-quality water where fish can grow. So we have a really great resource of fish in Uganda. The catches as they are now probably are around 400 to 450,000 tons of fish per year. It has penetrated the markets abroad, the international markets.
With approximately 37,000 square meters of Uganda's being occupied by open water and freshwater bodies, providing 460,000 metric tons of fish, out of which 24,000 metric tons are delivered to the country's 11 fish factories for onward processing before export for consumption across leading international markets. With foreign exchange inflows out of exports from fish products generating 154 million United States dollars in returns, the topmost leadership in the country has recommitted itself to ensuring compliance with best fishing practices are adhered to for purposes of sustainability.
The fishery subsector has, through implementation of fisheries management reforms, registered increase by 31% in Nile perch fish stocks, and the fishery is recovering on Lake Victoria. The support fisheries enforcement interventions has led to the opening of 4 factories, because all the factories had closed. How could the fisheries sector die when there are leaders there? How could you allow people to kill your lake by bad fishing? Now, I had 2 soldiers because the lake was finished. So now you can see the factories have opened.
From Victoria, we went to Georgia and Edward. Today, we are in Choga, and we are remaining with only 4 districts: Kaberamaido, Serere, Kayunga, and Buyende. And after finishing cleaning up the lake, that force that has done that job remains there for continuity, for sustainability.
We are glad to report a rebound of the fisheries sector. By 2018, after just 1 year of operation, we saw the procurement by factories going up to 41,000 tons. That's almost doubling. And this year, we are just talking of up to June, we have already seen them procuring 35,000 tons. That means we are going to hit our target of 60,000 tons of raw material going to the factories. We are very confident. Our fishermen are also happy, because once we have good revenue coming from export, it translates down the value chain.
Part of the challenges facing most fishermen is access to sustainable fishing gear. Among these is shortage of the recommended fish nets, which Uganda Fishnet Manufacturers Limited is solving.
Our fishnet manufacturing company in the whole region, which follows or which has the following of a Ugandan standard, which is Ugandan standard 1583. Now, this is a standard which has been made specifically by UNBS for fishing, for fishing nets. And these are standards which are now being incorporated by our neighbors, both Kenya and Tanzania. They follow a lot from these standards. So every year we get audited by UNBS. They come, they check our quality, and then it's only after they are fully satisfied that they will renew our certificate.
Thousands of fishermen on most of Uganda's freshwater bodies are among the critical players who are ensuring compliance with sustainable fish harvesting methods. The Association of Fishers and Lake Users of Uganda is at the center of this.
Now, in every landing site, there's a committee. That committee, there's an AFARO committee to watch whatever is going wrong and also say this is wrong. But we are doing all this, and it is informal because there is no law that is putting up these co-management structures. But what we do is that we go on radios, we make every twice Wednesdays we're on radio and try to tell up, and they listen a lot to say, people, this we have been here, we should not go back there.
Major development partners such as GIZ remain central in promoting best practices anchored on sustainability across the fisheries value chain.
We are trying to help them to kind of produce and assure the quality they need for the market in Europe, you know. We find interacting with them very easy because they have a very good structure, they are very well organized, and it's easy to kind of agree with them on certain interventions which we fund and they carry out with personnel which they already have.
Along the value chain, people should now just be calculative so that we add value at all levels and be able to now to harvest and get the best out of this resource. Over all the lakes, like we have done on Lake Victoria, map all the areas where we know that the fish breed and have nurseries, you know, fish have breeding and nursery areas, to produce some instruments that can help in protecting them and ensuring that they are being monitored. Then we'll all keep checking on the gears that are being applied and periodically inform government, push on information to the policymakers, provide adequate information of areas where things are going wrong so that they are being corrected. What we have achieved must be maintained.
Players and their business grouping, Uganda Fish Processor and Exporters Association, can now attest to the net benefits of sustainable practices within the sector.
We have been relentlessly advocating for responsible and sustainable resource management and secure fish stocks for the future. Our members have been very disciplined, and each of the factories adopt good management practices, which in effect safeguards jobs, protect environment, and assure best quality products to the worldwide market.
We feel that if we could now go on with the progress that we've seen in the last couple of years and the revival that we see in the last, and we must salute the tireless efforts of the people who try to see that there's compliance with the law in this sector, because the law is just indicating what you have to do in order for the fisheries to be sustainable. Let's not forget that it is based on science. And if this sector now goes on with its revival, we will be a model for other sectors.
Fish is good for health. We need to eat fish and we need to preserve our stock. It is like a treasure for the country, for the region, and we need to respect it. Everyone involved in this whole chain, everyone has to respect it. Once you respect the fish or once you respect our resources, definitely it will go for everyone.
In light of the high standards required with a growing international market for processed fish, there is a wide range of self-regulation within Uganda's processors.
Our products are also identifiable, segregated and traceable, and also the volumes are recorded.
Without this facility here, Chemifa, without its accreditation, the fish would not be able to be exported to the EU, because it needs to be tested according to stringent standards, and it needs the laboratory needs to apply methods of analysis and a whole process that is described in the ISO 17025. And on top of that, we have also the recognition from the FVO, from the EU FVO, that is making this export possible.
One such body that enforces compliance to fish processing standards is the Quality Assurance Managers Association.
Our markets demand high quality products. We started up a self-monitoring and control program when we realized that the fish was declining in the lake, the fish stocks. And we appointed a group of inspectors who come to the factories regularly to inspect the fish and to ensure that the fish that is being processed is of the required legal size, that is the 50 centimeters length.
We are the technical people who ensure quality and compliance with the national regulatory requirements and also market regulatory requirements and international standards. We are on list 1, which means we are fully compliant as far as EU is concerned. And once you comply with EU regulations and requirements, then you have complied with almost all the international markets.
There's what is called eco-labeling of the fishery products that you export. And for you to be able to eco-label, which is a requirement in the Western markets and other markets, you have to comply with what is required along the value chain. There's what is called traceability. So you have to ensure that the fish is traced back from the lake. So all the fishermen and the suppliers, all those people that are along the value chain have to be brought on board, to be trained so that they handle fish in a safe manner. For the industry or the Nile perch to be certified legally, all those people have to comply with the requirements on safety, on the length of fish, on the fishing gears, on the fishing boats. And I think we are almost there because the Ministry of Agriculture is right now licensing the fishermen and the fishing boats.
We had to ensure that we introduce what we call species-specific licensing, where we license you to fish Nile perch only. If you are Nile perch, be Nile perch. If you want to fish mukene, be for mukene. And if you want to fish tilapia, be for tilapia. So in that direction, we allocated a specific number of boats for tilapia, mukene, and Nile perch. And we have harmonized at the East African community level with the other partner states for Lake Victoria to ensure that we limit the capacity and ensure that people also comply with fisheries regulations.
First, we had an MOU signed by every owner of the factories that we will not accept any fish below 50 centimeter in length, which is a legal slot size of the fish accepted by the laws of the land. So it was a difficult situation in 2007 where more than 70% of the fish which we were processing was below that size. So when we took that decision, we were only depending on 30% of the resources which were available during that time. So then the productions in the factories have gone down. All the factories have gone through a very tough time where there is no enough fish support to run the factory in an economic manner till 2010-11, and fish started improving because that was a time required for the fish to grow to our slot size and also improve the biomass in the lake.
We are basically the ambassadors of taking this product across the world. So we feel that as processors, as exporters, we can contribute towards the welfare and upliftment of the entire fishing community, so right from the fishermen all the way up to the workers in the factory as well as all the way into the value chain.
Given the need to continually promote standard guidelines and practices, Uganda National Bureau of Standards is promoting wider access to certification and testing of processed fish en route to the export markets.
We have put all the standards for the inputs as far as fishery is concerned, and then for the process, the codes of practice. All we need now is to ensure implementation and enforcement of those standards. And then, together, UNBS together with the Ministry of Agriculture, we are looking at residue monitoring plan. Residue monitoring plan means that we must check the water, to ensure that it's not contaminated. We must check the fish which is coming out to make sure that the fillets and other products that we're trying to sell are not contaminated in any way.
This efficiency and effective management around quality assurance on processing of fish is also seen a motivator to some of the Uganda-based factories that now own and operate branches across other East African countries.
There is a government regulation which says that we should not process less than 20 inches fish in length, and we are very strict about that one. Not just our group, the whole industry. So we have been very well disciplined in this regard, and we have been doing self-monitoring, and if there is a deviation, we didn't hesitate to punish our members.
The partnerships we've had, of course, is with the government, mainly the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, and also Lake Victoria Fisheries Organization, whereby we have been engaged in ensuring that the fish is sustainable. Because we also participated in the fisheries management, Lake Victoria Fisheries Management Plan, whereby we also participated to ensure that the plan is adhered to.
We've agreed on the licensing system, we've agreed on the fishing gears to be used, we've agreed on the sizes of fish to be caught. So after agreeing, then the partner states, including Uganda, are responsible to go and put all these measures in practice. So they are responsible for the implementation of what is agreed at the regional level.
Sustainability benchmarks rank top of new policy reforms around this resource-rich country.
We are coming up with a law. The law is soon getting a certificate of financial implications from the Ministry of Finance. Then it will be discussed in Parliament. Where we want to go is farming in fish and exporting in millions of, in thousands of tons, not just the few fish that we are capturing here.
A set of enforcement measures has turned predictable indicators for all actors across Uganda fisheries industry.
So we are moving to streamline and ensure that we all work together within the law to have sustained fisheries resources in Uganda.
The benefits of the price rise, the benefits of producing more export markets is not directly going to the fishermen. So the Fish Processors Association, together with the whatever associations the middlemen may have, they should join together and they should go to the community where the fishermen reside, and they should help them to empower themselves.
We have been growing every year, and that is a very good sign for the sector. And this business of fishery is a very serious business, and it needs to be regulated, and we have our competent authority as Directorate of Fisheries Resources.
In promoting sustainable production for Uganda's fish processing industries, the Trade and Industry Ministry acknowledges the level of employment created thus far, the skilling outcomes, as well as the expanding ripple benefits to the national economy from the fisheries sector.
I expect more employment, more job creation, but then at the same time looking at other byproducts of the fish industry. In most cases, we look at the fish as fillet for eating, but there are so many other byproducts that we need to sensitize people about. For example, the skin of the fish can make very beautiful bags, beautiful shoes. So we're looking at promoting that industry by introducing other byproducts on the market. We are negotiating markets. We have actually stimulated the ground for promoting the industry.
We are now gearing up to obtain the Eco-Labeling and Marine Stewardship Council certification, which will give us a chance to penetrate the international markets with premium prices. This in effect will increase the revenue for the country. And it is also worthwhile to mention that Nile perch fisheries as of now is already a very significant part of the Uganda's GDP and one of the highest foreign exchange earner for the country.
Collectively, the members of the Uganda Fish Processors and Exporters Association are increasingly keen on ensuring that critical elements such as gender is adhered to. Up to 50% of workers within processing factories are women, as much attention is given to special groups and physically challenged. These employees are also provided with special benefits such as health and reproduction services, so much needed for this youthful group.